It is 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It is 5 o'clock on the West Coast. It is the 9th of May in the year of our Lord 2024, season 14, episode 29, 663 times you have been welcome to the Clubhouse Podcast live, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on our YouTube channel, or if you've got the audio version that you've downloaded from Apple Podcasts, from Amazon Music, or from Spotify. We're just glad you're here. Welcome. My name is Rob. I'm the executive producer of the Clubhouse Podcast, and this is not green screen. We are back in studio. And when I say me, Chabuya. We are skating at full strength. That way from me is my co-host, and I gotta get my thumb right. I have to contort my thumb a little bit. And a man that I had an amazing conversation with yesterday. It's weird when you don't talk for 4 days, then you talk for like an hour and a half. He is Alex.
It does happen that way. There's a lot of time to be made up for, especially when there is so much crossover and content.
Yep. He's not. You're on a little bit of a delay right now, but usually as the show goes on, it catches up. So in case everybody's like, what is going on here? Or Alex is, his internet gets kind of moody. Bottom of your screen right there. He is the official fact checker of Sooner Gator.
Not to mention we have the severe weather coming in.
Yes. My wife actually went to the grocery store. I'm hoping she gets back in time. He is the official fact checker of Sooner Gator Productions, and I'm assuming that's a Bucky shirt. You may know him as Igbunu, but his mama named him Don Ford. I'm going to call him Don Ford. Hey, man.
They're being ripened. They're picking millions of peaches.
I am coming to your house sometime before the end of this month, and we're going to fix all these tech issues that you have.
Okay.
Because I know you bought stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just got to get it hooked up, right?
I guess I don't. But no, the peach trees, they're some are already ripened. It's gonna be peach overload.
It's peach season, and I'm so happy.
Millions of peaches for free.
Don, you may not have seen this.
I do want to take one bit of issue with that. There is no such thing as peach overload because peach is wonderful, and there's no such thing as too much.
The man has a point.
Yeah.
But Don, I don't know if you saw this on social media earlier this week. I put a pineapple in my smoker.
How'd that go?
It takes about 4 hours.
Okay.
You have to, I tried one last week and the recipe I had was like not even close to right. So
Okay.
you have to shave off the outside. You have to leave the top and the bottom on it.
Okay.
And then you put it in the smoker at 180 for an hour and then 250 for 3 hours. I used cherry wood. It was a little strong. I think the next one I'm going to try applewood and see if it's a little bit more subtle in the flavor. But I thought it was great. It was a little much for the lovely and talented Mrs. Irvin.
But it's just a whole pineapple. You just peel it, leave the top and bottom on. You don't core it or anything like that, right?
Nope, you pour it afterwards.
Throw it in there and let it go.
Yep.
Maybe I should do that on Saturday.
I finished it off today. It's pretty good.
I could probably do one of those on Saturday.
You better get up early. So
why not? Give it a shot.
Hey, it's cool.
Yeah.
I might even smoke peaches. You don't know.
Hey.
Alex has a very confused look on his face.
No, don't throw to me. I actually just saw something else that I hadn't played with in StreamYard. That's all.
Okay. I thought you were confused about something we were talking about. I don't want to make sure you were okay. All right, let us dive right in, boys.
No, honestly, my connectivity is dipping in and out, so.
Okay. Boys, we have a college bowl name change.
Uh-oh.
The Arizona Bowl henceforward will be known as the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, sponsored by his gin and juice beverage. Yep, that's a thing. So now we've got
the Arizona Bowl the one that's changed like every year?
Probably. We got the Pop-Tarts Bowl now. We got the Tony the Tiger Bowl now. And we got the Gronk LA Bowl now. And now we got the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl.
No, I have a VIP smoking lounge.
Yeah.
Because when I think of gin and juice, I think of the desert.
That's right. I
think juice. I can think of as mezcal, because of the cactus, or those. Beyond that, no.
Snoop Dogg looks at his bank account and he's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Saying.
No, he just wonders
MLB.
why his phone number is so long. That's why.
That's also true. Let's see here, real quick. Just updates on the NBA playoffs. Dallas trying to tie with OKC tonight. Denver now down 2-0 to Minnesota in a collapse of epical proportions. Boston 1 up on Cleveland. And Alex and I actually talked about this yesterday. Don, did you see a certain tweet from a certain Tommaso Ciampa yesterday?
No.
You know, he's from Boston.
I didn't know that, but
Johnny Gargano from Cleveland.
Okay.
Tommaso tweets yesterday, if Cleveland beats Boston, I am 100% turning on Johnny. I giggled about that for many, many minutes. And Knicks up 2-0 on the Pacers. That's where we're at right now. Getting into the NHL, and I had to do these one at a time because it was hogging up a bunch of memory for some reason and slowing my camera down. Dallas trying to tie up 1-1 tonight at Colorado. Vancouver comes back from 3-0 to win 5-4 as they're up 1-0 on Edmonton. Florida, Boston tied at 1. Big fight last night in that game. And the Rangers are up 2-0 on the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's go to MLB. We're going to talk MLB for the first time this season, gentlemen.
Okay.
Want to send a quick shout out. Last week, Rachel and I took Mark to the Ranger game for his 50th birthday. We were out there in left center field in the all-you-can-eat seats. Fully approved. It was all-you-could-eat burgers, hot dogs, nachos, popcorn, peanuts, and soda. And it wasn't that much more than a standard ticket.
So how does that work? Do
Well,
they
you think
have
about what you saved on food and drinks.
Yep, even on Dollar Dog Night.
where like do they have just a certain
So what you do is you get
yeah.
the ticket, and the game we went to, and I'm sure it fluctuates, but the game we went to, it was under $60 a ticket, and that includes your ticket into the game. You go down, there's only specific sections it applies to. There's only like five sections that you can sit in for this. When they verify your ticket, you get a wristband.
Okay.
Now, there is one stand on the far end where you can buy things like funnel cakes and adult beverages and things of that nature. But, and it goes like through like the 8th inning. And it was the food, there was barbecue chicken involved. It's fantastic.
So like, can you only get one burger, or can you get 2 burgers? Or
dude, it's all you can eat, bro.
So if I want to go up, I want 3 burgers. I want 2
you serve yourself. You just walk up there with the tongs and you put the things in the tray.
Oh, it's kind of like a buffet. So it's not okay.
There's multiple stations, but yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. And yet all the condiments, they even had pico, which was awesome for my nachos. It wasn't just cheese. Like you could put jalapenos on there if you want to, and lettuce. It was a great spread.
Okay.
Rangers lost 1-0, but we had a great time, and I was so glad that we got to do that. Let's go to the AL East, since we're talking about the American League. Toronto, they're on 3 games under 500, but they're only 7.5 back in the division. They are a 1.5 back on the Rays. The Rays are now a half game back on Boston. White Sox 5 games back on the Yankees. Yankees currently half a game back on Baltimore. Baltimore leads the division at 24-12. In the AL Central, the White Sox are terrible. Put a pin in that. They are 9-28. But they are also not alone in that boat. They are 15 games back. They're 10 back on the Tigers. The Tigers now 2.5 back on Kansas City. Kansas City's hanging in there after a very, very rocky start. Kansas City is a half game back on Minnesota. The Twins now 2 back on Cleveland. In the AL West, Houston. 13-24 right now. That's a team that is all over the map currently. They'll beat somebody 114-3 and then come back and lose 150-2. It's the strangest bit. They are a game back on. Oh, this is a new board since last time we did this. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Los Angeles County, California, America, North America, Earth, Milky Way, Universe, Multiverse. Law is 3 games back on Oakland, who all of a sudden decides they want to start winning games by sizable margins.
But please keep the major league memes coming because I love it.
Well, and it sucks to have the under on the game they played today where Rangers beat them 12-11.
Did you see the quote from their young closer, Mason Miller,
who
throws 100?
Go ahead.
So they asked Mason Miller if he felt left out because the closer coming in has become such a thing in sports lately, or baseball with its pump up music, the light show, and everything else that goes along. And they asked Mason Miller if he feels left out because Oakland doesn't do that. He goes, "We can't. If they turn the lights off, they might not come back on."
He's not wrong.
He's not at all.
Oakland now 2.5 back on Seattle. The Rangers have a 1.5 game lead in that division.
And just completed a trade not long ago to get Robbie Grossman back.
They did indeed. In the National League, the NL West, the Colorado Rockies are tied with the White Sox for the worst record in Major League Baseball at 9-20.
Futility.
They're 6 games back. They're 7 back on San Francisco. The Giants are a 1.5 back on Arizona, who still has that team. The Diamondbacks now a game back on San Diego. Oh, I may have to bring that up. Did you see that there's now a poll out for the Coyotes? I'll get to that here in a minute.
We'll cover that later.
Yeah, well, we've already done baseball, or we've already done hockey. San Diego
never kept us from going back.
You're not wrong. 6.5 back on the Dodgers, who are just lighting the world on fire right now. Good Lord.
Good teams in bad divisions tend to do well.
Yeah, there is that. In the NL Central, the St. Louis Cardinals, they're 15-21, but they're only a half game back on the Reds. Cincinnati, a half game back on Don's beloved Pirates. Don, your Pirates are 5 back on the Cubs and Milwaukee.
Well, they're in third.
Yep, right in the middle of the pack. And by the way, Cincinnati's lost 8 in a row. And in the only division that matters, the NL East, my Marlins are stinking up the joint.
We're not last. We're not last.
Only 2 games better than the other 2 teams I've mentioned. They are 16.5 back in May.
And have already started selling players.
They're 9.5 back on the Nationals, who actually we watched beat the Rangers last week. The Nationals and the Mets are tied currently, but you've got the tiebreak. You're 7 back. You're 5 back on my beloved Braves. The Braves now 2 back on the Phillies. So before our next segment, let me click on this link here. So Utah, we talked about recently, they will be getting the Arizona Coyotes. And apparently there is now a 20 choice for the fans of what the team name will be. Now they are giving
none of them.
So you will not see Skatey McSkateface. So Alex already knows them. Don, I'm going to run them by you. And we're going to get your opinions.
Well, quick yay, nay on them. All right, Don?
All right.
Now, they haven't said if it's going to be Utah or Salt Lake City yet. But I believe
no. They have confirmed it's Utah.
Okay, so it will be Utah and then one of the following things. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Utah Frost.
Yeah. Yay.
The Utah Ice.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee's favorite. The Utah Mountaineers.
Because they're known for mountains. Like Wyoming.
The Utah Freeze.
I want them to do that just so they can get the Taco Bell sponsorship.
The Utah Mammoth. Maybe.
It's the least terrible one yet.
The Utah Black Diamonds.
Skiing.
I get what you're going for there, but no. The Utah Blast. Now there's your Taco Bell tie-in.
Oh, I was thinking of the Blast Freeze as well.
The Utah Caribou. Because when I want to strike fear
Getting
in my
real.
opponents, give me the caribou.
There's no caribou in Utah.
By the way, shout out to Ricardo for sending this link to me.
Yep, he sent it to me
This
as
is
well.
what team it's going to be? What sport again?
Hockey. They're getting the Utah. They're getting the Arizona Coyotes, Don.
Yeah. But
Who
There are actually
Caribou?
caribou in Utah.
I didn't see
How
any.
about this one, Don? How about the Utah Blizzard? That's your DQ tie-in.
Yes.
And remember, if we
shut them out, everybody gets a free steak finger basket.
you can only flip one player over at a time during a game, because apparently that's a thing I found out. That DQ's policy is if you order multiple Blizzards, they only have to turn one of them upside down.
Huh.
Shout out Weird History Food. God, I love that channel. How about the Utah Hive?
Did you see that?
That feels
That's
loaded.
the B state.
Only if
Only
if Jason Statham drops the puck in their first game.
Well, that too, but no, Utah's known as the Beehive State and all
But
that.
it's
So
not
I
a
mean,
terrible name.
I could see that one. That one I give.
And by the way, this past week's I'm waiting for Alex's reactions, but last week's How Did This Get Made was for the Beekeeper. How about the Utah Outlaws? Pew pew pew. Maybe.
Yeah, they're a wild bunch out there.
I see what
The
you
mean
did.
streets of Salt Lake.
Oh, I lost. Where's the button for that? Oh, there it is. The Utah Yeti.
The Yeti.
You're very close to alliteration, and you guys know I love alliteration, but not close enough for me to say yes. The Utah Squall.
What's a squall?
It's like a
squall is an ocean weather event.
no. Utah Fury. I'm kind of on the fence. I'm on the fence. The Utah Glaciers.
Oh yeah, glaciers all over
we
the
move
state
slow.
there.
Eric Bischoff would like a word. The Utah Canyons. Eric Bischoff would like a word. No. The Utah Venom.
Oh dear.
That one keeps circling, and I hate it.
I know. This last one, I've said publicly, I said on this show that I'm okay with. Utah HC for Utah Hockey Club. That to me, of the ones that we have the choices of, that's my first choice.
Mine of that list is the Beehive.
Well, the problem is it's just the Hive, Don.
The Hive.
And the problem there is because there has been a lot of, let's say, hive mind negative press regarding Utah and its non-official religion.
Oh, so they're...
Oh, yeah. Owner Ryan.
So if they called it the Beehive, the interesting thing is if you look at this list, there's only like 3 different mascots if you play it right. Because Hive, Fury, Venom are all bee related. So at this point, I'm thinking it's going to be the Utah Venom, but that first year they've already said it's going to be the Utah Hockey Club. But this is all bad. But
Owner Ryan,
we're also talking about the NHL, where we have 2 separate teams just named after the residents of Canada, because you have the Canadiens and the Canucks.
Now, according to ESPN, owner Ryan Smith has said the team will have a team name starting with Utah, as Alex said. The inaugural season will feature jerseys with the name of the state on the team, with the name, logo, and colors not coming till 2025-2026. After work by...
If I was the owner, what I would do is I do something with the bees and have the bee as a mascot, but you'd call the arena the Beehive. Because it's like Pittsburgh had the Igloo. You could call that the Beehive, the arena. Nickname it the Beehive. That's just my thing, because it's the Beehive State. Go ahead, Alex.
No, I 100% co-sign on the idea, Don.
Yeah.
Which I think throws out Hive as a name. But how did we not get, with all of the bee talk, how did we not get the Utah Swarm?
Or the Stingers.
Stingers is used way too much, though.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, but hell, we've done a shirt where the stinger was on it.
It's true. All right, gentlemen, it's time for the return of North America's favorite game show.
Oh, boy.
But now it's, what is the run differential for the Chicago White Sox.
Ooh.
I just want to go on record and say I would have definitely lost this bet thinking that it would have been Oakland.
Alex.
So we're about 40 games in.
Yeah, 37-ish.
37.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say minus 62.
Don.
I'm going to say negative 75.
Okay, so let me give you, since Alex mentioned them, let me give you Oakland's current run differential. They are at a minus 28. Remember I said the Chicago White Sox had the same record as the Colorado Rockies?
Mm-hmm.
The Colorado Rockies run differential is 5 less than the Chicago White Sox. Let me remind those of you playing the home game, today is May the 9th. Russ is here. He says minus 59. Oh my gosh, I'm not even looking in the chat room. Goodness mercy. Sorry, Russ. He wants the Utah Sting. That's right. Russ went and saw Ashley McBride last week. The Chicago White Sox, as we mentioned, are 9-28. That is a 243 win percentage. They're all, 5-12 at home, 4-16 on the road. They're 4-6 in their last 10. On May 9th, 6 weeks into the regular season, the Chicago White Sox have a run differential of minus 89.
They're getting clobbered. What was last year's? Was last year's 200 and something last year? Who was?
I believe it was
200. Yeah, and
the
by
big loser,
that was that Law?
I don't think so, but I cannot say that confidently.
And just as a comparison to remember again, the Oakland A's have a run differential of minus 28 in comparison. So you got that going for you, which is nice. All right, gentlemen, let's get into pop culture. A lot of TV news this week. ABC has... go ahead, Alex.
Last year, it was Oakland.
Oh,
at
wow.
minus 339.
Ooh.
They're on the way. They can beat that record.
They're on pace.
And in an interesting level of balance, at home, they were minus 172. And on the road, it was 167. So they were equally terrible everywhere.
If you guys remember last summer, ABC had a show called Claim to Fame, where it was relatives of famous people while living in a house trying to figure out who the famous relatives were. They have renewed that for season 3. I did not know there was a season 2. Your new host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is one Jimmy Kimmel.
Didn't realize that was still a thing.
It's in syndication. I know Meredith Vieira hosted it for a long time. I want to say...
so it'd be like during the day. It won't be at the prime time or anything.
Terry Crews hosted at one point. Now, ABC may be doing a prime time version of it like in the summertime.
Okay.
And I want to say it's even a celebrity edition. They're also bringing back Extreme Makeover Home Edition on the ABC with Clea Shearer and Joanna Teplin from The Home Edit. That is a brand that they own. I was never big into that show. I was more of a Monster House guy, where they would take somebody's house and like turn it into a cool theme.
Yeah.
CBS and Paramount Plus announcing that season 2 of Criminal Minds Evolution will kick off on June 6th. So if you're keeping track of that show, you got that going for you. I do this next headline for my sister. Disney Plus has announced this summer alongside Disney Junior, they're going to be doing a bunch of shorts from the show Bluey that she and my nephew Hudson are big fans of. And I got to meet 2 of the characters. I should have got my picture with them at Hill Country, but I did take a picture and send it to my sister. Russ says Buzzer is going to have the old school Price is Right stuff. What is
Buzzer?
It's one of those like freebie kind of things. These things are
like the game show network,
kind of, sorta.
Okay.
But these things are popping up everywhere. All of these like free channels to watch, and it's crazy right now. Hulu has renewed Unprisoned for season 2. Speaking of Hulu and FX, who has announced season 3 of The Bear will kick off on June 27th. Are you boys caught up on Wrexham?
Yes, I am.
And all episodes of The Bear will drop at once on Hulu.
Oh, wow. Alex, are you caught up on
that was what was being reported. I am, which I feel bad for Don on.
No, I don't, and here's why.
Okay.
If we know anything about Wrexham, they will take side quest episodes.
That's fair.
So I feel like even though they've skipped over the game Don was at, the match.
Yeah,
I feel like they're going to go back and do a side quest episode where they talk about how Wrexham has now become kind of the world's team.
The international reach.
That's the episode I'm waiting on, Don, because that's the one you're going to be on. I am willing it to the universe.
Well, I was watching it, the 2 episodes. Yeah, that because there's 2 episodes on the premiere night.
Right. They always do 2 episodes every week.
And the thing is like they only gave us 10 seconds of that game, which is like, damn, okay. But the thing that kind of got me is I saw the theme that they were doing, saying, hey, we hit the big leagues. Now we're taking on like Chelsea and we got slaughtered. And they won that game. I think it wasn't part of the narrative of that show that they're trying to do. So they kind of just eat a little bit on that. That's why they put 10 seconds of that game.
Plenty of time.
You know?
And I love that show. It's still great.
Yeah.
The storytelling is still fantastic. And I mean, I find myself just rooting when they score goals.
Oh, and you could have warned me about the second season.
What do you mean?
People thought that something went terribly wrong because I was in tears with emotion watching the second season in my office.
At the end?
The whole way.
Oh, no. I'm not
especially at the end, but the whole way.
I'm not spoiling Nan for you.
Oh, I'm not asking you to tell me what happens. I'm just giving you crap.
The way I do. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here.
But if I add, the thing we found out from that last week is that they're going to be taking a tour now. And Wrexham's going to take on Chelsea again. This time it's going to be, I think it's in the San Jose area there. And it's going to be this summer. And so actually Chelsea's going to have 5 games, friendly matches in the U.S. in July. And they're going to take on Manchester United. They're going to take on Wrexham again. They're going to take on the Mexican team and the Irish team. And so there's going to be like Atlanta, North Carolina, California. So we may possibly try to hit one of those games when Chelsea is out there. Now,
cool.
will it be the Wrexham game? I don't know, because if we go to that game, I'll know which team to root for because I like them both.
Alex.
The Chelsea Wrexham match is July 24th in Levi's Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, in Santa Clara.
Yeah, they are playing Bournemouth at Harder Stadium in Santa Barbara on the 20th of July.
Yeah.
They will also be going to play the Vancouver Whitecaps, which was announced in a very interesting post by Ryan Reynolds, who is from Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we're thinking of possibly seeing one of the Chelsea games. But if it's Chelsea and Wrexham, I like them both. What I do, you know.
Your wife wears a Chelsea kit, and then you wear the Wrexham kit. Problem solved. Problem solved. Max announcing that season 3 of And Just Like That will add Rosie O'Donnell to the cast. And they've also announced that their recording of Lady Gaga's Chromatica Ball Tour, they will debut that on Max on May 25th. That's coming up later this month. Before I forget, since we're actually right there, Alex, remind me, have you seen Upgrade?
Are you referring to... Yes, I believe so. That's the one that...
It's A24 movie about the guy who gets the chip put in his neck.
That I was trying to think of a subtle way to say that. Yes.
Yeah, because
that's very good.
That's coming back to Netflix this month.
Nice.
And so I couldn't remember if you'd seen it because I was going to tell you that it's going to be on Netflix this month.
There was another movie a lot like that came out around the same time, and Upgrade did it so much better.
Yeah, Upgrade.
I can't remember.
Don was at the screening, if I'm not mistaken, weren't you?
Which one of them?
Upgrade, about the guy who gets paralyzed and he put the chip in his neck.
I think I did see that one.
Super fighter guy, and the bad guy.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, it's been a while back or whatever. Yeah.
It's a good flick. NBC Peacock has renewed Night Court for season 3. So you got that going for you. They're bringing back Ted. That show's
better
season. So
it was awesome.
Good. I'm glad because your approval means a lot in that category because that's your jam.
Let me put it in a context that you're going to find blasphemous. I like it better than most Family Guy.
Oh wow. No, I mean I don't. I'm at the point in my life that that's not blasphemy to me.
But at the same time, I'm talking about peak Family Guy. But because the thing is it's in that same vein, but it's with the wheels off because they don't have to be censored.
Yeah.
And I like the movies. I just never saw the series yet on Peacock, but that's something I want to see.
There's only one.
The series hasn't been out that long.
Yeah, I'll catch up on it. But.
We talked about this a few weeks ago. It is now official. They have renewed Law and Order Organized Crime for season 5, and it will be going to Peacock. It will not be on proper. So you can actually buy the gavel and it makes the noise. The bunk bunk. I saw that on Facebook yesterday. And
when is yours getting in?
I actually thought about buying one for Jen for Mother's Day. Huge news dropping today for Peacock. We now know the synopsis for the spinoff for The Office. Oh no, they're changing everything, brother. Basically, the documentary crew finds a dying historic Midwestern newspaper with the publisher trying to revive it with volunteer reporters. I am reserving judgment. Because it sounds great.
Like they should not have called it The Office.
Well, they haven't said what they're calling it. It's just a spinoff. Because it's the same documentary crew.
But to clarify, I feel like this is in the same vein of when we called the Colin Farrell movie. Oh my God, what was it? Arnold Schwarzenegger, then Total Recall. It was a great movie, except for the fact that people were expecting Total Recall, and it wasn't that.
Well, I'm going to be interested to see how this pans out, and it's gonna be on Peacock, so it's not, which is kind of surprising. And maybe they'll look at the numbers after the first couple episodes, and if it does well, maybe it'll go to proper. But right now, it's slated to go to Peacock.
Reboot.
Do what, Don?
The reboot of the reboot, because the original was actually a reboot of the English version,
the British version, which did not go nearly as long.
Two
this
seasons.
Is going to be something entirely separate, Don.
Yeah.
Netflix also announcing, we talked about the last season of Cobra Kai is coming up. It's actually going to be a 3-part event. So it's not going to be like a full season type of thing. So prepare
over a
yourself for
year
that.
and a half.
I should probably start watching that. Paramount Plus announces that they have renewed Lioness for season 2. So apparently that did very well. And season 2 of Frasier announced today will have Perry Gilpin as Roz in it.
Oh.
So I'm very excited because I really did enjoy the original run because I thought that cast was just fantastic. They're also airing a documentary about Cyndi Lauper coming up called Let the Canary Sing. It's going to debut June the 4th. I will be checking this out. I am a huge fan. So, and she has had a journey. Part of the first WrestleMania. Prime Video announcing this week they are doing a series as a sequel to Blade Runner 2049. Do you see this?
I did not.
Starring one Michelle Yeoh.
Okay.
She will be a replicant near the end of her life. TV on DVD and Blu-ray this coming week, just season 1 of the Adult Swim My Adventures with Superman. That's the only thing that I saw on the list for this week. Let's get into some movie talk, boys. Could Paul Walter Hauser be busier? Is it possible?
You know, the funny thing is, I know that there would be a segment of people who might see this that are going to go, but why? I've only seen him in a couple of things. I have no idea about the wrestling career.
Well, he has joined the cast of the Naked Gun reboot alongside one Cody Rhodes. But there's something else he has joined that we have breaking news on that broke right before we went on air. He will be joining the cast of the Fantastic Four, as will John Malkovich in an unspecified role, and one of the stars of the first Omen, Ralph Ineson, will be playing Galactus.
Now, the real interesting thing with this, Ralph Ineson has been phenomenal in small roles everywhere. And interestingly enough, probably the biggest, most recent one. Did you see The Green Knight?
I did not. I've got it. I've not watched it, but I've heard wonderful things.
So the concept of the Green Knight being a larger than life character, Ralph Ineson is that guy. If you need somebody to sound big and imposing, look big and imposing, he's your guy. So you go back through multiple movies of that ilk. He was one of the very large seafaring killers, we'll call it, in Game of Thrones. He's just a big, bad, wonderful actor.
And hear me, Disney. Don't screw this up. I know a lot of people have been up in arms of the rumor of what they're doing at the Silver Surfer. I'm okay with it because it's in canon. So, and it's a great piece of that story, which I think is kind of cool the way they're doing it. We are getting, we should have talked about HDTGM now because they recently did an episode of the show talking about this next movie that is getting a sequel, boys. Get ready for a sequel to The Pope's Exorcist.
Okay, for the record, I enjoyed that movie.
Have you heard that episode, though?
I am so far behind.
That is one that had me in tears. I was laughing so much.
But the other interesting thing to that, and I don't know if it came out recently enough for it to be in that. So Russell Crowe is the titular exorcist in that movie.
Yes.
He has another movie where he's playing an exorcist, and they are unrelated.
Yes.
And they're being released within a year of each other.
But we are getting a sequel to The Pope's Exorcist, so
I'm on board. I know you won't, Rob, because horror movies. Don, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's so much better than it has.
Saw it.
What's that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my wife has actually seen it.
But you think it's going to be this stupid horror movie, and it's so much better than it has any business being. Now, I'm not saying it's up for awards great or anything, but it's so much more entertaining than you'd expect.
Speaking of Disney, another interesting story this week. They have said they are limiting Marvel to up to 3 movies and up to 2 television series per year. They're tapping the brake a little bit. I get it. I'm okay with it. Let's slow the blitz down because now and we've talked about this on this show before, you're having to dig a little deeper into the well. So you're going to have to take your time telling stories.
Well, I also wonder if there's any part of this that has to do with the super streamer coming down the pipe between Hulu and Max and anything. And there's some level of holding back for certain properties that may work better in conjunction with those other outlets.
And I need to find out more about that because if I'm paying for these things separately, sorry, I'm stopped up.
On the Hulu and the Disney thing, we have a year subscription to Disney, the high-end one. Okay.
Right.
How would that do if we wanted to add Hulu now with that? Would we lose our subscription and have to do it monthly or what?
Hulu only does monthly right now. We actually talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right now, I would tell you hold off until we find out what this super streamer thing is because they haven't released pricing or anything on it yet. So once we know more about that, I would assume that if you chose to pick up that option and there was a yearly option, they would just credit what you have and charge you the difference for the first year, maybe. Alex?
Yeah.
I don't think you really need to care about that, Don. They're putting pretty much everything from Hulu on Disney Plus right now.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, so if you look, you'll be able to find Shogun. You'll be able to find The Bear. I still recommend you going and watching that early and often. But
what's The Bear one about?
The Bear is the Chicago restaurant that
with
we
Jeremy
talked
Allen
about
White
before.
from the Iron Claw.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, where I told you I was in tears feeling represented in my restaurant life for the first time. Yes.
Andy Serkis with a big announcement yesterday.
I need details. I need details that aren't out yet.
2026, he will be directing. Peter Jackson will be producing The Hunt for Gollum. It's Andy Serkis. I trust him.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'm proceeding with caution.
I need the details of when this takes place, because the only thing, and forgive me if I'm butchering this for any fans, the only time I could think that this would even fit would be right after, spoiler alert, for a book that might be 90 years old now.
Older than me.
I'm sorry?
That's older than me.
Yeah. The only thing I could think is if this is right after the first murder.
Maybe.
I can't believe I'm having a brain fart right now on Gollum and what's
Smeagol?
the original?
Smeagol.
I could remember the S, but for some reason I couldn't get to Smeagol. So I think the Hunt for Gollum will be Smeagol's first murder based on the ring, and then the transition into Gollum.
So we will keep you updated as more information becomes available on that. Did not know until today that apparently Lindsay Lohan who shares a birthday with me, is working on a biopic of one Anne Margaret. And Anne Margaret has not only given her blessing to it, she has actually been working with the Lindsay Lohan on portraying her.
I know this is wildly unfair, but hearing that it's Lindsay Lohan, I'm like, I'm going to need to see something to care, because right now it just sounds like bad ideas.
I mean, I'm intrigued. Show me a trailer and I'll make a comment. But the fact that she's signing off and she's working with her, there is a glimmer of hope at least. And one of the things that Alex and I are very big fans of, and I don't think Don has taken advantage of this.
Okay.
When we go to a certain theater for screenings, we can order our concessions on that theater's app, so that we don't, even though we're both A-list members, we don't have to stand in line. We tell them what time we want to pick it up. We show up at the thing. They ask my name. They give me my Bavarian Legend, which I did not defeat last time, and my soda, and I'm good. Now we have another version of that coming, as Fandango, the app, will let you now pre-order your concessions when you buy your tickets. And right now it's only AMC, but before year's end, they're going to expand to other theater chains.
I like it, but that's definitely for people who are creatures of habit more than I am.
I mean, that's me.
Yeah.
But I also, I wouldn't buy my tickets. If I'm going to AMC, I've got A-list, or we're going to a screening. But for those that would, I think this is kind of cool. So that way you don't have to, you just walk in, here's my tickets, here's my concessions, I'm going to go in the thing.
Well, I wonder if they're going to run into any issues, or if they'll have some kind of fail-safe where you can order ahead even if you don't have tickets.
Well, I know Cinemark, you can order their concessions on DoorDash. And I've seen this DoorDash sign at AMC.
Yeah.
But you can also buy AMC popcorn in the grocery store, which is weird.
The times we live.
Movie new releases and places you get movie new releases this week. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I don't know. I need to go back and watch the other two before I watch this one.
Three.
There's like three? I don't count the Tim Burton one.
I'm not counting the Tim Burton one. You have Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, and this is Kingdom for the Planet.
Oh, wow. I realize this is the fourth one.
Now, I am a big fan of these most recent ones. I hate the fact that they're poorly named, but I don't think they intended to do more after Rise, or they would have done Dawn, Rise, War. The fact that Rise and Dawn are reversed in my mind, it irritates me.
This
But
will be probably wait for on streaming and watch them all.
Well, you can watch all 3 on Max, I believe. All 3 of the prior iterations. But I did see an interesting headline regarding Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, or Kingdom of the Apes, or Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Whatever it's titled. I'm going to have to get that right before.
You stuck the landing. You stuck the landing.
Did you see the headline from your main villain ape and the actor portraying Maximus Caesar?
I did not.
Well, it's played by Kevin Durand. Now, if that name rings a bell, it should, because he's been in a billion things and he's always the big guy. If you want to go back to the Wolverine origins, he played the Blob. If you want to go back to Real Steel, he was the cowboy robot fight promoter. He's in Legion as Gabriel, the Angel Gabriel, I believe. But he's one of those guys in that thing that was in everything. But he said he studied a lot of, he referred to it as confident public speakers, but based on the list he gave, it was a very distinct type of confident public speaker, and we'll just say it's megalomaniacal. But there was a lot of mannerisms, and the most recent he was talking about was Elon Musk.
Oh dear.
So if you hate Elon Musk, you might wind up hating this movie.
Also this week, not another church movie.
I saw what now?
Not another church movie.
Even I want to cringe at this. What?
Yeah.
What is this?
It's one of those like scary movie. Not another.
That's what I thought it was.
Oh no. Okay.
With Jamie Foxx as God, Mickey Rourke as the devil, and your main character's name is Taylor Ferry, Pherry. Taylor Ferry is commanded by God to write a movie inspired by his crazy dysfunctional family, but the devil has his own devious plans in this hilarious spoof comedy.
Ugh. This feels awkward.
Vivica A. Fox is in this. Tisha Campbell, Jasmine Guy, Kyla Pratt.
You said it's being released this week?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got that going for you.
Even with my leanings. No.
Movies on DVD and Blu-ray coming Tuesday. We have part 2 of Dune, so which means I should be able to stream it here in about 3 weeks. Imaginary and One Life.
You said what about Dune 2 is being
it's DVD and Blu-ray next week.
Okay.
Which means we should be screening it here or streaming it here in about 3 weeks. All right, boys. Oh, I gotta do the thing. Hold on. Yeah. Man, it's been a long time since that theme played. It's time to change gears as the Cheap Popcast takes over your airwaves, your one-stop shop for all things professional wrestling. And we start with one of the hottest tickets in professional wrestling today. If I say his name, he may appear.
I hate that we don't have the audio drop for this.
I know. I wish we could.
We can. We're just got to risk it.
It would take me too long to queue it up.
I think 2/3 of us own it.
But I'd have to get it's the logistics of this.
I'm just clarifying that we have it.
So last week, Joe Hendry's theme song is released to streaming platforms. I bought it from iTunes.
Can we form this in the... I know the answer. Can we form this in the phrase of a question and have Don guess where it is on the charts?
I think we kind of buried the lead by the way we've hyped it to this point, but
it's not a given.
Number 3 on the charts.
In America. In England, it did go to number 1. In a tweet, Joe Hendry puts out, Beyonce and Taylor Swift take the week off. Now, we have breaking news about it. Have you seen the interview Joe Hendry did with the BBC, Alex?
I have not seen the interview Joe Hendry did with the BBC, but we're going to keep saying Joe Hendry because we want him to appear.
In an interview with the BBC,
Thank
he
you,
said
Don.
he was contacted by the people at Eurovision. They want him to submit the song for next year's competition. Make this happen. Make this happen for the love of God. In the name of all things good and holy, put this song in the Eurovision competition.
I believe in this idea.
The wording that I read was, we believe that it is not only a great representation, but we believe it could win. If this happens, if this comes to fruition, you might see a grown man cry. I'm saying I need this in my life. We are huge Joe Hendry fans. We are waiting on the day when he comes to our town, because we've been to multiple shows by that company and he wasn't on them. But man, I want this. I want this in the worst way. We will keep you updated, and go download his theme song. It's 99 cents. And it's a great song. It's everything. Joe Hendry's everything.
And it is a nice, quick little tune that hits so many styles too.
I love it so much.
Because I believe in Joe Hendry.
Speaking of,
I think that's the first time Don's actually done it on beat.
Speaking of total nonstop action, Under Siege was a thing on Friday night. Let me say something. First of all, respect to TNA. They did a 30-minute pre-show and it had 3 matches on it. So it was let's go, let's go, let's go. There wasn't a lot of fat to be trimmed off that pre-show. Hammerstone was not cleared, so it was Jake something who faced Rich Swann. Here's my question. Now that Diener's face again, can Jake something get his last name back? Because that was the whole point of him going to Jake something, because he didn't want to be Jake Diener.
But I think he likes Jake something.
But his catchphrase is, what's my name? And if it's Jake something, it doesn't work for me.
It works for me. It's hilarious. Because you know what? We're going to go with our second Family Guy reference. Because something can be anything. It could even be something.
Not a great weekend to be women's tag champs going into Please. Because Alicia Edwards wins her first title ever as half of your new Knockouts tag champs with Masha Slamovich. Which, okay. And as we all know, as we're going to talk about here in a minute, the next night, other belts changed. Also got breaking news earlier today, and we cannot confirm nor deny that this is kayfabe or not, but the Tonga twins have allegedly left WoW. And we don't know if this is in Angle or not. They've said they will talk more down the road. For 2-time tag champs, the Tonga twins.
I just thought you were going in a different direction when you were talking about the tag titles. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that's...
Because Asuka is... I don't know if you have that note.
We can talk about it here in a minute. Let's get into WWE talk. Sorry, I need to get a drink here. Me. Smartest man alive. Thank you. WrestleMania 41, as I have predicted, will be in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, Alex and I tend to run in different online wrestling circles. I am in shock that nobody that I have seen, and I guarantee you Alex has, because I can guarantee it. Nobody in circles I have run with have talked about the dates of this plea.
I have.
And I told you, I'm not a betting man, but I'd have put my house on it. Don,
The RVD Invitational.
Don, have you seen the dates on Mania next year?
Isn't like mid-April now. They don't want to mess with the final four.
Night 2 is on 4/20, bro.
I know. Mid
In a city where it's legal.
So what?
4/20.
In a city where the representation is legal.
4/20 is a weed thing.
I don't think Don, do you know what 420 is in the slang vernacular?
We got him.
Okay.
But I saw the dates and I was like,
okay.
In Vegas, this is going to be an experience. Get ready, kid.
I know they moved it back. They don't want to mess with the final four and have that big.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But, whoa, being that day.
I need you to hit the breaking news button.
We have breaking news. We go live to Rockwall, Texas, where Alex has breaking news.
There have been discussions, so nothing can be finalized or stated, that somebody on this show might be working that week in Vegas.
Hint, it's
at
not
smaller shows.
It's not me, because I didn't know this. Nice.
I will talk about more details off air because I don't want to ruin anything on air.
Fair enough.
Well, I know here's my thing. I know they were talking Minneapolis for being the other.
Minneapolis, that was Minneapolis making that talk, not the company. They had said they had made a major bid, but as part of the new era, they went a different direction.
I know what's wrong with Minneapolis. That's my question.
Apparently there was something in the bid for Minneapolis that the company did not like and would not budge on.
Okay.
That's just
rumor. So they go, okay, let's go to Vegas.
So we'll see where that goes.
Now, here's my question. I heard supposedly.
Yeah, I co-sign that thought process.
I heard supposedly that Nick Khan
Don,
saying
what was that?
how any of the majors will not be out of North America.
We talked about that on our last
I know Cena teased London WrestleMania, which I think is a great idea.
Stay with me, because I've got an item on that coming up.
Okay.
But we did talk about that a couple of weeks ago. Seth Rollins has re-signed with the company because somebody had to pay for that outfit he wore last weekend. Ricochet is your inaugural speed champion. That belt is terrible. I do not like that belt.
Do you notice what that belt really closely resembles?
It looks like the 24/7 title to me.
It's the best way I've heard it described. I can't take credit for this. It's if the Global Force Wrestling belt and the 24/7 title had a baby, and they slapped a sticker that said "Speed" on it. I don't either. Well, it's a stupid bit on X, which I'm glad it's giving other people a shine for 3 minutes, but I don't care.
Bobby Lashley is injured in training. He will be replaced tomorrow night in the tournament by Angelo Dawkins.
Yeah, there have been discussions whether or not it is shoot or legit. All reports are that it is a legit injury.
And we finally get them saying the Pride, but it was only during the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Backlash France. Let's talk about it. I love
that crowd.
CM Punk locked in the building after the pre-show for 2 days. I thought was hilarious. But I'm going to say that crowd for both SmackDown and the plea, that was insanity. I was thoroughly impressed. Shout out Leon France for that particular crowd who was just, man.
I did look up the song that they were singing to AJ Styles. It is all kinds of time capsule insanity.
It was everything.
And you should look it up.
Enter Tonga Loa.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, I am going to let you give your stat, and then I will give mine.
I'm going to need you to spoon feed me because I do not remember which stat you were referring. Oh, the 8 of the original 10 or something like that.
5 of the
Bullet
original
Club
8.
members. 5 of the original 8 Bullet Club members are now all under contract with WWE, including the first 2 leaders.
Yep. The only 2, the 3 that are not are Fale and the Bucks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My
And
stat
at least 2 of those ain't happening.
Don, you will remember this. Now that Tongaloa is part of the company, you now have all 3 members of the Rising from Impact as part of the company, because that was Drew Galloway, Eli Drake, and I think his name was, he used the name Elijah back then. So all 3 of those guys are now part of the company.
Yeah, moved all over.
And 2 of the guys in the faction they feuded with are with the company, because remember who they feuded with, Don?
No.
The Beatdown Clan.
Okay.
MVP and Bobby Lashley.
So do you think eventually Roman comes back and it's a power struggle for the thing?
Absolutely. That they're telegraphing this. And
Yeah.
Alex said to me, we talked about who we want. Go ahead.
Micah,
that's right. Who we want can we just call him the Gorillas of Destiny and be done with it?
I hope so. I have something that I wanted to save and ask your opinion on separately with this, though.
Okay.
It was the thought I had after realizing how many members of Bullet Club are there and thinking how there are more members of the early Bullet Club in WWE than any other promotion, including the one that still uses Bullet Club.
Yeah.
But in this, sorry?
I said, yeah.
But in this new era where we see things are more open to what others have created, can you see Forbidden Door becoming not the Forbidden Door, but something of its ilk coming to be once this agreement between New Japan and AEW is over, where we get Bullet Club being used proper in WWE?
Yes, please. I want to go to there.
I can see that from here as well.
And
then your War Games is WWE Bullet Club versus the War Dogs. Bring it.
And as I teased earlier, we do now have new women's tag team champions in Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, which I thought that was a really good match. Like the show overall, good. For a show that only had 5 matches on it, I thought it was a pretty good show. It was above average.
Jade still showed some rust or showed some green in her work, but she was overall good as well. Now, I cannot get over the fact that Asuka has been working for over a month with reports from anywhere from a torn ligament to torn meniscus in her knee, and just kept going through even an 18-minute match. And now that's why she's not being seen, is because allegedly she is having surgery.
Verified by Nia Jax. Which, Asuka, get well soon, please.
Yes.
I do have, actually, I'm going to come back to this. So, Don, you mentioned earlier about Nick Khan's quote from a few weeks ago that what he's now calling the Big Five, because he's including Money in the Bank, will not be anywhere but America or Canada. There is a bit of a change to that opinion, because the KSA is asking for a major, either Mania or the Rumble, to take place in Saudi Arabia as part of a new deal. That has not been fully verified as of yet, because as we know, if it's Mania, it's going to be at least 2 years. I don't think they announced the Rumble yet, but that would be awful close to the November show they do, unless you pushed it.
Well, they've already had a Rumble.
Do you see London getting Mania in the next 10 years? You know that
it's going to depend on how this goes. If it goes well, because the problem again, like last Saturday, I'm literally in bed watching the plea because it's noon here. It's the logistics of it have to be worked out. It worked for All In.
Yeah,
you were there. Alex and I watched it. Well, most of it anyway. and that's my fault. But I think it's possible. It's going to be probably closer to that 10-year mark than farther away from it, in my opinion.
I think with Nick Khan being the business assassin that he is, I think it's more likely that you would see Mania on mainland Europe, perhaps Munich, than you would see it in London. I would see it in France first, but I think the big deal with that is with him being willing to be the absolute business murderer. He would say, as long as AEW is running a big show in England, we don't care. We'll go to the mainland.
And we are getting a show in Germany in August. That might
Berlin.
be testing ground
Now,
there.
how much input do you think H has over Nick Khan on deciding this stuff?
I don't
Zero.
think H concentrates on the staff,
The content.
Yeah, that's his focus, and that's where he's at. There was a
He might be able to make suggestions, but the 100% decision is Nick Khan.
There was
So
a deal.
You think it'd be Saudi Arabia being off North America first before any other Europe?
Yes.
Saudi would get it first.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Okay.
It's far too profitable for them to even not consider it.
There was a deal struck with USA. Raw will air there through the end of the year. That 2-month gap does not now exist anymore. So that 2 months before the Netflix kickoff, you will still have Raw on USA. I want to ask you guys something as we get we're in WWE talk. And this is something that I was thinking about. As you know, King and Queen of the Ring will have its finals at the end of this month. They are actually doing something that I've been thinking they've been needing to do for a while. Some of the first round matches will actually happen at house shows this weekend, which I think is
Oh, really?
great. Yes.
You have long been a proponent of the exact phrase, make house shows matter.
Yep. But here's my
this is how you do that.
I am a big fan of the way King of the Ring was in the beginning, where you did the whole thing in one night. Should we turn King and Queen of the Ring into a 2-night event?
Yeah.
First 2 rounds on Saturday, second 2 rounds on Sunday.
I would say no.
Okay.
But I am also a fan of the New Japan style of booking where you create a tournament of some kind. It gives you about a month's worth. But what I do like in that concept is give us the last 2 rounds on the show. Open the show with your semifinals across the board. Close the show with your finals. But go ahead and let it be I don't want to call it a slightly longer plea, but throw 2 to 3, maybe even 4 matches in the middle, because we're already at 4 matches for the semifinals. But I don't think any of those would go terribly long. I think your longest would be 10 to 15 minutes on the men's side, and on the women's side, I think it would cap at about 10 minutes. So what you're looking at right there is about just short of an hour. Then you have another hour or so of other matches, 1 or 2, maybe. And then you have the finals after that, which would be your last half hour to 45 minutes.
Don, what are your thoughts?
My thing, I would keep it one night. I would not do 2. And I would probably do the semifinals and then the finals.
Okay.
But, my thing, though, is, and this is one thing we talked about. We said, well, what would you do if you're the company? We talked about it at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big things I would do is, if I was H, whatever, you win King of the Ring, hee-haw. Who cares? Your footnote. What I would do if I was Triple H is say, okay, the winner of the King or Queen of the Ring, they now get to pick the champion that they want to challenge at SummerSlam. So the Queen of the Ring says, you get a title shot at SummerSlam, you pick the champion you want to challenge. Same thing with the King of the Ring. That way it puts the emphasis of, you win this thing, now you get the big shot at SummerSlam.
Alex?
It puts emphasis on the winner.
Rob, do you want to take this or should I?
Yeah.
I'm going to let you take it.
They've already said that that's the case, Don.
Oh, I didn't know that was actually
thing. They've already said it. It's not. They have not confirmed SummerSlam. They have already said that the winners of the King and the Queen of the Ring will get a shot at a title holder of their choosing.
Yeah, I would say I would do it at SummerSlam because that's the big.
Oh no, I totally I understand where you're coming from.
That's also exactly what I had pitched when we mapped out our year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's why I was just like, okay, but yes, no,
that's why I asked if you wanted to take it.
Yeah,
I agree with you 100% because I had the same thought.
Yeah,
Jey Uso does advance in the tournament because he replaces Drew McIntyre, who was not medically cleared. He will face Ilya Dragunov in the next round. Io Sky advances. Zoe Stark advances, and she'll face Lyra Valkyria, and Gunther advances.
Mm-hmm.
The people that don't have opponents, those will be decided at the house show on Saturday. So,
yeah, the Kofi Rey Mysterio.
And Shayna Baszler's taking on, or no, she didn't take on Zoe Stark.
I think that's the SmackDown side that we still have yet to receive.
Okay, I saw something for her on the other thing. Your qualifiers for the NXT North American Women's Title Tournament. Go ahead, Alex.
It was Dakota filling in for Asuka that we had mentioned earlier. That's the other house show one.
So you had the Combine to get the 12 qualifiers that will go through NXT as we approach Battleground. I'm actually looking forward to Battleground from a logistical standpoint because they are doing it at the UFC Apex, and I want to see how that works because it's a great facility.
I'll be curious to see how it works compared to fight nights that they do there.
Yeah.
UFC fight nights that they do at the Apex because it's a really nice, very small facility, but it's not too dissimilar in size to the Performance Center.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing for me in that, and the reason I am booing the Combine, I like the idea of the realism and having something of a Combine, but don't try to sell us on Jada Parker being so strong and then showing video of her failing miserably at the tasks.
There were four different rounds, all focusing on a different facet of being a successful WWE superstar. Points were tallied up from the 12th place going up. In 12th place, we had Ren Sinclair, formerly Maddie Renkowski, if you know who she is. In 11th, Tatum Paxley. I think that Tatum Paxley is one that I've got my eye on this year. I think she's been horribly underrated, and I think she's going to get a nice shot this year to show what she can do. Alex's least favorite on this list, Kalani Jordan, comes in at 10th.
I don't know that she's the least favorite, but she's definitely towards the bottom.
You're not a fan. Izzy Dame in 9th. Izzy Dame is one that has potential, but I need to see her work on her own. In 8th place, Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile, to me, she's on the main roster now. Like, she can do a good match, but I wouldn't put her in this ladder match.
Well, I think you have two people that are in that same boat.
Above Ivy Nile, we have Lash Legend. Interesting bit with her and Trick this week on NXT. Made me giggle a little bit. I like her. I'm coming around on her. I was not a huge fan at first, but I am coming around.
Have you talked about what makes that so interesting between Lash Legend and Trick Williams?
I have not.
So there has been a lot of, I don't know if we call it sass in their back and forths with promos and different things, but there has been some real heat there. They are a couple.
I was going to say, is life imitating art?
It is apparently two former professional athletes who are bonding over their current status, or who have bonded over their current status. And Trick, as he has found his voice, has also helped Lash Legend be better, and I'm really digging it.
They've got good chemistry, which now
that is 100% true.
Lash Legend trails Fallon Henley. I think Fallon Henley does make it to this ladder match. I've always been a big fan of her, and I think she'll have a good showing. She would be in my top 3 to win it currently.
She is one of my favorites as well.
Michin, who has returned to NXT, there's no way she does not make this ladder match because she's going to make that match better because she's got such amazing skill.
Well, I feel like you could say that about Ivy Nile as well, but there is 0% chance because they keep laying on how she's on SmackDown. She's part of the OC. I would think her being in it is purely as elevating fluff.
Well, but I also see the Good Brothers interfering in her qualifier match to get her in.
That's an interesting point. Yeah.
NXT, excuse me. A lot of NXT appearances as well. Sorry, I need a cough drop. Brinley Reese comes in 4th place. She's another one that I think maybe retool the character a little bit. She's got some skills, but I haven't seen enough to make a formed judgment at this point. Jada Parker in 3rd. They're going to break up that team with Scripps leaving because his contract is not getting renewed. Give her a chance to shine on her own. 2nd place was Thea Hale, to the surprise of absolutely no one. I would put her in my top 3 to win it.
Same.
Because to give her a workhorse title, to get her to the women's title, I think this is a good idea. Oh my goodness, excuse me.
Well, to fill it on that one, I think Thea Hale and Fallon Henley are your top 2. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if either there is a debut to help Fallon Henley win the title, or she herself does something less than kosher to get the title over Thea Hale, and then your program for the summer is right there.
And your leader in the clubhouse at the combine was Saul Ruka.
Also, boo.
But she's another one. I think they just need to change the character, change the gimmick.
The problem is I need to get past this mental block that her entire positioning is based on the fact of who her beau is.
I do not know that.
Tyler Bate.
Tyler
Bate.
But if you remember, somebody else came in with that similar gimmick that has gone on to much better things. Do you not remember who had that gimmick in the first Mae Young Invitational?
No, I'm really drawing a blank.
That would be one.
Oh, wait, is that what Rhea was pulling during the first Mae Young?
She was doing the whole surfer thing.
Yeah, the difference is that I don't know that Soul is actually doing the gimmick as much as it's more natural for her, whereas Rhea was putting on the gimmick to be.
But what I'm saying is that gimmick is not one that necessarily works. Retool the gimmick. Let's get this going. Ethan Page is no longer All Elite.
Which could be good, could be bad. Either way, we wish the best for him.
I would love to see him reunite with his old tag team partner.
Ooh, may I fantasy book that idea for you?
Please do.
You have him reunite with Josh Alexander, reforming the North.
Yep.
Who has Josh Alexander been feuding with? Hammerstone.
Oh, Hammerstone, that's right.
Bring in Richard Holiday and give us the Dynasty versus the North.
Let's go. I'm here for it.
You're welcome, TNA.
Or you have the North Dynasty. You make a stable and you have them go against the System.
Ooh, that could work too. Actually, you have them against each other. Then you have that situation a la The Bar where 2 guys fighting each other become bonded. You have those 4 bond to then take on the System, who overrun a couple of their matches, and they realize they hate them more than they hate each other.
Rampage will air after Collision again this week, so
get ready. Just write the next 6 months for TNA.
Tell you, people listen to the show.
Yeah. Well, we know somebody who listens very closely.
That works for that company. But so get ready for 3 hours of AEW on Saturday again. But there was, I swear, and maybe I just slept through this. There was no Collision last Saturday at all. And I don't know if they canceled it or I thought it was going to happen and it didn't, but they did not air an episode last week. Because TNT or TBS was doing Star Wars Day and TNT was doing basketball playoffs.
Well, they also have hockey.
They were doing basketball on Saturday.
Yeah.
But there was no episode that I could find. And nothing was on my DVR.
I can't remember it either.
Because they were talking about GYV, and I thought they were supposed to be on Collision, and there was no Collision. So there's that. on Dynamite, the Mogul Embassy has turned on Swerve, so we're going to see how that works out. And on Ring of Honor, Iron Savage.
I haven't seen Dynamite from last night because I was at the screening, so I'm gonna.
That's all I'm saying, Don.
Okay. Okay.
It was a very throwaway episode.
Was okay.
Didn't miss much.
Well, let me put it in this context for you, Don. They ran a show in Edmonton.
Okay.
At basically the same time as an Edmonton Oilers playoff hockey game.
And
we had our first flashing on a Dynamite, but that's about it.
Question mark. But there was also what I'm calling a technical glitch after Serena Deeb's promo. No part of that screen turned black and white. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. You're calling it a technical. Like, now I'm with you.
And on Ring of Honor, Iron Savage has announced that they're now heels. They just cut a promo and they're like, we don't like you people anymore. We're doing this for us. Okay, sure.
Last week we had the show at the Diff.
We did indeed. I was there.
My question is, what's the deal with Omega? Is he able to wrestle, or was that just a what's?
I can tell you he's not going to wrestle at Double or Nothing. You need to watch Dynamite, and that's all I'm going to say. Because there is a piece of that addressed on Dynamite.
Okay. I mean, I'm just curious what real life, if that,
I have not heard either way if he's actually cleared or not, but he took a couple of good bumps last week. So
yeah, he did last week. Yeah.
I would shudder to think that he isn't cleared to take those bumps. But I will also say, as 2/3 of this show deals with, not trying to diminish anything, because diverticulitis can get really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it in no way, shape, or form should still be affecting him. I think that he has so many injuries that have piled up that they're just sticking to this story, letting him heal up.
Okay. Give him some time to kind of get.
Whether you have diverticulitis or diverticulosis, it is not pleasant.
It's just a matter of timing.
And as Alex said, 67% of the show has dealt with it. So it is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And there's literally nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know what that is, it is a condition where, and this won't be graphic, I promise.
Yeah.
In your intestines, if things don't get fully digested, and the main culprit of this are seeds, which, Don, this is why I can't have popcorn when we go to the movie. I can't do strawberries. And Alex is in the same boat.
I miss strawberries.
What happens is you have these pieces in your intestines that are basically like phalanges. And a seed will get stuck in there. And when that happens, the phalanges will all scrimp around it. So it's like a fist around this seed. The only way to fix it is you have to basically take muscle relaxers so those phalanges will loosen back up and the seed will go the rest of the way through. It is easily the worst pain I've ever felt in half a century on this planet. Because not only does it hurt until the phalanges release, it basically you have cramp pain for like 3 days as the muscles relax themselves, and it sucks.
Now, if you want the doctor's statement, because they don't like you going for pills or anything like that, their recommendation is to take like a massive amount of like Benefiber to try and force through, but that will feel almost like tearing.
Yeah.
And the real problem you can run into is if it gets too lodged in there. And this is what happened to Brock Lesnar when he wound up having to have surgery, is trying to force it through, wound up tearing his intestine.
And so that's where they had to remove a piece of it, which is basically what Kenny Omega dealt with too. Mm-hmm. They had to remove a piece of it because it had gotten so bad.
Yeah.
The osis is more of the continual condition, which is what Alex and I deal with. The itis is the
inflammation.
Right. Which is more of a isolated incident.
Yeah.
I thought that was very eloquent. I thought we did a good job on that. Anything else you boys want to talk about? Because we're getting close to time.
I think we got just about everything covered. I know we have the end of the month coming up, a lot of different options. We will be covering certain areas over the next couple of weeks.
Shout out to Mike. I just saw him in the chat.
I didn't know if we wanted to talk about next weekend, not this coming weekend at all.
Yeah, we definitely want to talk about the next week on the show. Next Thursday, we will be here as per abnormal. But next Saturday, the 18th, Alex will be out on assignment. So Don and I will be doing an audio-only episode for a couple of reasons. We will be back. Is this our 6th or 7th or 8th? How many times have we done this, Don?
I have no idea. At least 5th. I know at least 5.
We will be at Garland High School for the Real Owl Cinema Film Festival that we've done for many, many years with our friends, the Schuberts. We will be doing an audio-only version of the show for we will be judging the films. Then we will do about an hour of the show, and then we will go back for the awards presentation. That will be a week from Saturday on the 18th. And then after that, we should be back to abnormal for at least a couple of weeks. Not sure how the holiday weekend's going to work out. We'll figure that out as well. But I think we're like, 4 weeks in a row without taking a week off. So we're doing all right.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just happy that we've got all of our audio sources back. Very excited about that.
And I want to thank everybody at the DIF, all the people that came on the show, all that, everybody there, all the press.
Great shows.
Yeah.
That,
and I want to say thank you. Early Happy Mom's Day to Mom.
Yep.
Love you, Mom.
It is Mother's Day. There's got that going for us. Or as Letterman once said, it is the warm up to the real main event, which is Father's Day, which takes place next month. Always second Sunday in May, third Sunday in June. These are the things I know. Anything else we need to talk about, boys?
I think we got it covered.
All right. Make sure you visit our website, the aforementioned www.theclubhousepodcast.com. No new reviews this week, but we got like 3 coming next week. At least, maybe 4. So, because next week is Back to Black. Don sent me his review for I Saw the TV Glow today, so that'll be up next week. We also have the Blue Angels movie, which is kind of weird because we're not screening that until Friday night. So I got to figure out how we're going to do that because it is going to get a 1-week theatrical IMAX run before it hits Prime Video. So it may be one of those we review it for the Prime Video release. I don't know. You can follow me on your social media. Like everything is yes, that Rob Irvin. That is spelled ERVIN.
I'm Vexploit on all social media. If you'd like to help out with the show, please go to ProWrestlingTees.com and search for the Cheap Popcast. We got a lot of different shirt options. We got a lot of different design options. If you happen to be an artist and have any suggestions or would even like to contribute, you will get 100% of the proceeds of any shirt that you create and get sold. But you can send that to me at alex@theclubhousepodcast.com.
And that URL to get those awesome shirts that even make me look good, ProWrestlingTees.com/Cheap Popcast. And on Twitter, I'm at Bono, IGV. And if you want this matters to your place, email me, don@theclubhousepodcast.com.
Just like we did at the Dallas International Film Festival, we will be doing for the Real Owl Cinema Festival and some other things coming up this summer. Don did a fantastic job at the DIF, especially that first night. You were, man, I don't know if we've had that many guests on one show in the history of this show. We were moving and shaking. You can email me questions, comments, concerns. Tell me to go pound sand. I am rob@theclubhousepodcast.com. Charlotte Marshall is on Pinterest because we are morally obligated to say that. I miss my sister. Our normal show every Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, is your one-stop shop for all things sports, entertainment, pop culture, pro wrestling. And we actually had inadvertently had pro wrestling references on last weekend's episode, and we didn't know until after. I'll tell you that story someday. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty. So until next time, for Alex, for Don, for the Empire, I'm Rob. Clubhouse is closed. Brittany Palmer's been doing a lot more art lately. Yeah, hit that QR code for all the cool stuff. Brittany Palmer's doing some awesome art lately. She actually had some of her Star Wars Topps cards available over the weekend. It's pretty awesome.